What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Twins Latest. I'm Sam Calder. Hope you are all doing well, even though it's Monday. We've got quite a bit of baseball to talk about today. There have been 3 games for our Twins since the last episode, so we're going to talk about all of it today, plus some other good stuff in there. Before we get to everything, please be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on daily Twins news and updates, as we are just now a few weeks away from opening day. But without further ado, let's jump on into the episode, and let's start by recapping the action from over the weekend. Last episode, the Twins were on a bit of a dry spell. They'd lost 4 straight games, but a strong weekend could get them back on track. Unfortunately, the dry spell continued. They got absolutely obliterated on Friday against the Yankees by a final score of 17-5. Followed that up with a 13-8 loss to the Boston Red Sox on Saturday, and suddenly the losing streak was up to 6 games. But it's over now. They tied yesterday with the Braves 2-2. They're not back in the win column, but they're out of the losing end. But let's look at some of the notable performances from over the weekend, starting with the bad, so that way we can end with the good stuff. Friday against the Yankees was not a good outing for Marco Raya. He started on the mound for the Twins, but he recorded just 1 out while allowing 5 earned runs on 1 hit and 4 walks. He only threw 16 of 31 pitches for strikes, and command was clearly the primary issue there. His fastball touched 97.8 miles an hour, so the raw stuff is still there for Marco Raya, but when you can't consistently land pitches in the zone, velocity doesn't matter much, and for a pitcher who's battled command issues in the past, this is not an encouraging outing and not a step forward for Marco Raya. Ryan Jeffers is off to a slow start as well. He's just 1 for 15 this spring with 5 strikeouts. It's still early, and for a guy as proven as Jeffers, I'm not going to panic, but still not encouraging to see. Cole Sands also got hit hard on Friday. He gave up 3 runs on 3 hits and a walk over 1 inning of work. Taj Bradley did not look quite as good in his second start as he did in his first one. Over 2 innings against Boston on Saturday, he allowed 5 runs on 6 hits and a walk. He got hit very, very hard, as did he in his first outing. That's something I want to see get cleaned up from him over the next few weeks. But let's shift over to the positive sides of things. Mick Abel was absolutely filthy yesterday against the Braves. He threw 3 scoreless innings, allowing 1 hit, no walks, and striking out 6. It was not against starters like it was in his first outing against Detroit, but still a great showing from him nonetheless. He generated 10 whiffs on 43 pitches, and his swinging strike rate this spring is now at 25%. An average rate for a pitcher is about 12%, just to put that in perspective, so 25% is ridiculous. His fastball got up to 98.9 miles an hour. It topped out at 97.1 in his first start, so love what I'm seeing from Mick Abel on all accounts. Cody Clemens continues to swing a hot bat. He put 3 balls in play on Saturday, all of which had an exit velocity north of 100 miles an hour. He's definitely somebody who could earn more playing time if he keeps hitting the ball this well. James Outman is hitting the ball very well too. He smoked a home run to right off of former Twin Sonny Gray on Saturday, and he's now sporting an .875 OPS this spring. And then lastly, I want to talk about newly acquired Twin Zach Kent. He was claimed off of the Cardinals waivers over the weekend, and he made his debut yesterday against Atlanta. He threw a scoreless inning, singular, allowing just 1 hit while striking out 2. Great debut for him. But it was good to see the Twins get out of their losing streak yesterday, albeit they didn't win. But they'll get a day off today before taking on the Rays tomorrow, and then Team Puerto Rico on Wednesday before the World Baseball Classic starts up on Thursday. But let's pivot from this weekend's action over to today's prospect deep dive. We brought this guy up a little bit last week because of his performance in a spring game. It is starting pitcher Andrew Morris. Morris got the start last Tuesday against Baltimore, which, as I mentioned last week, did not go well. But there's still a lot to like with him. Morris was drafted 114th overall by the Twins in the 2022 MLB draft out of Texas Tech University. And among Twins pitching prospects, Morris probably has the best command of all of them. His career walks per 9 is just 2.3, which is fantastic. And while he doesn't have the same stuff as a guy like Kendry Rojas or Dasan Hill does, his command is far better. He spent all of 2025 at AAA, finishing with a 4.09 ERA over 94 and 2/3 innings, 89 strikeouts to just 28 walks. Very, very solid surface level production for a then 23-year-old pitcher. His FIP was right in line with that at 414. Really, really solid season for Andrew Morris. He's got a 6-pitch mix with a fastball, a slider, a curveball, and a changeup. And then last year, he added both a sinker and a cutter to that. His fastball sits between 95 to 96 miles an hour, though for what it's worth, he was sitting around 92, 93 in that outing on Tuesday. That could just be part of him getting ramped up for the season, but I'm not sure. But he's got a really nice blend of speeds. His cutter and changeup both sit around 89, which is fast for a changeup, but that can work. His slider sits low to mid 80s, and his curveball is way down around 75 miles an hour on average. So it's a really, really nice arsenal overall with a great mixture of speeds, as well as different movement patterns. His quality of contact overall did take a bit of a step back last season. His average exit velocity allowed ticked up by a mile an hour. His hard hit percentage was 3% higher, and his home runs per 9 wasn't below 1 for the first time in his professional career. But none of those increases were anything major, and he's still very, very good when it comes to generating soft contact. All in all, I'm kind of surprised you don't hear more buzz when it comes to Andrew Morris. I get there's a lot of other names that have higher prospect pedigrees, but he feels like someone who has a very, very high floor at the major league level just because of his command. He's not going to strike guys out at a super high level, but he's going to force guys to swing the bat, and he's very, very good at limiting hard contact. He's still very young, too. I mean, he's going to be 24 this season, so there's still a lot of room for him to grow. I think it's likely that we see Morris in the majors at some point this year. I can't say what his role will look like, but I'm confident that we will see him. And then moving off of Morris, but sticking with the prospect theme, I've mentioned now how I'm working on my own personal Twins top 30 prospect rankings. They're not fully done. I am a decent bit of the way through, though. And so what I want to do today is read off to you guys my personal top 10 Twins prospects based on what I've gathered through our prospect deep dives over the weeks, as well as just some other research off camera. Andrew Morris just barely missed the cut. I almost teased this segment in the last one when we were talking about him, but since he's not in my top 10, I didn't want to jump the gun. But I digress. Starting with my number 1 Twins prospect, it should not be any surprise, but it is outfielder Walker Jenkins. He is the Twins' consensus number 1 prospect, and there is certainly a reason for that. He hits the ball hard, he's fast, he's a solid defender in the outfield. He made it to AAA as a 20-year-old and performed better than most prospects do his age at high A or double A. He's not going to be a 30 home run guy, but he's going to get on base and drive the ball. He's going to be a stud. Prospects 2 through 4 are consensus as well. Not necessarily all in the same order based on every platform, but they're all, within the same group and within 2 through 4. My number 2 Twins prospect is going to be shortstop Kalen Culpepper. He took a step up last year at the plate, and he's hit some balls hard this spring already. He's a good defender as well, who profiles as someone who will stay at shortstop long term, and he stole 25 bases last year. If he continues to develop as a hitter, he could turn into a true 5-tool infielder for the next decade plus. My number 3 prospect is outfielder Emmanuel Rodriguez, one of the hottest performers this spring for the Twins thus far. He just really needs to clean up the whiffs. He had a 31% strikeout rate at AAA last year, and that's really the only thing holding him back at this point. He hits the ball very, very hard, as we've seen this spring. He's got good speed, and he's a quality defender in the outfield. And he could push for an opening day roster spot if he keeps on doing what he's doing over the next few weeks. Number 4, then, is Eduardo Tayit. I think I pronounced that right. I might not have, though. The only reason he's not higher is because I haven't seen him do it at the higher levels of the minors. He's great at getting on base and making contact. He's not super powerful, but that's not uncommon at the catcher position. He's someone who will hopefully get to Double-A this year, which would be great for someone his age. He's only going to be, I think, 20 years old. But after the top 4, things get a lot more subjective. My number 5 prospect is going to be Merrick Houston. He was the Twins' first-round pick in last summer's MLB draft, and the surface level numbers don't jump off the page, but he's just a really solid overall player. He's got a good hit tool and is a great defender, along with good speed. He doesn't have the power tool like Kalen Culpepper, but Houston can definitely turn into a 4-tool prospect up the middle. At number 6, I have another outfielder in Gabriel Gonzalez, and he just hits, man. He hit 329 across high A, double A, and triple A last year. He performed better at AAA than either Rodriguez or Jenkins did, and he's mashing this spring so far. He's been one of the Twins' best hitters, arguably better than Rodriguez, so great to see from Gonzalez. And then at number 7, we finally got a pitcher. And the number 1 Twins pitching prospect for me is Kendry Rojas. Rojas was phenomenal last year up until he got to AAA. And he was a little shaky in his second spring appearance on Saturday. But he's got the stuff. It's just about cleaning up the command. He looked outstanding against the Braves starting lineup in his first spring appearance. So he's plenty capable of getting major league hitters out. At number 8, I've got another pitcher in Dasan Hill. Just like Rojas, Hill is a lefty who struggled with command last season. But also just like Rojas, the stuff is more than there. 83 strikeouts over 62 innings last year for Hill. And he's still only 20. So if we can see the command take a step up this year, he could easily jump into, the top 5, top 3 of the Twins organization this time next year. Number 9, I'm making it 3 straight pitchers. I'm going Connor Prielipp. If Prielipp was 2 years younger, he'd be in my top 5. But he's 25 and he struggled with injuries. So I kind of see him winding up in the bullpen. But he has, in my opinion, the best stuff of any of these 3 pitching prospects we've just talked about. Now it's just about cleaning up the hard contact a bit more in 2026. He's got a ton of upside, but a lot of downside. And then at number 10, I'm going with a guy that a lot of people are lower on, but I think it's a little unfair to him. It's Billy Amick. He hit over 300 at high A last season, and while the power didn't show up as much as we thought it would, he was drafted in the second round in 2024 because of his pop. I think we will see the pop come back more in 2026, and I think Amick will continue to hit the ball well. But yeah, that's my top 10 Twins prospects. Just to recap, starting at number 1, my top 10 is Walker Jenkins, Kalen Culpepper, Emmanuel Rodriguez, Eduardo Tait, Merrick Houston, Gabriel Gonzalez, Kendry Rojas, Dasan Hill, Connor Prielipp, and Billy Amick in that order. And then to wrap up the video, as we always do, we've got our Twins player preview. We're starting to run low on names. This will be the 29th Twins player preview we've done. And there will, of course, only be 26 guys on the opening day roster. So at least a few of these guys are going to be in the minors or DFA'd. But the guy we're looking at today most likely, or most definitely will not be in the minors or DFA'd as long as he's healthy. Well, he won't be anyways. But it's Joe Ryan. Ryan was supposed to start the season as the Twins, or supposed to start the Twins' second spring game, their first official game against the Red Sox last weekend. But he was a late scratch due to back tightness. And he will not be pitching in the group stage of the World Baseball Classic anymore because of that, though it sounds like he could be ready to go, assuming Team USA advances. But moral of the story, it's not ideal that he's already dinged up, though it sounds like it's nothing serious. Ryan is going to need to stay healthy this year if the Twins are going to have a chance at making the playoffs. He will be the ace of the pitching staff, a pitching staff that is already banged up and down a couple starters, and there's no reason to think he won't be. He finished 2025 with a 3.42 ERA over 171 innings, 194 strikeouts to just 39 walks. That is a 5-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio, which is elite. Looking at the advanced data, it largely backs up what Ryan did last season. His expected ERA was 1/100th of a point higher than his actual, so right in line. His FIP was right in that ballpark too. We did see the quality of contact against him tick up a little bit. His hard hit rate, jumped from 36.6% to 41.9% last year. His barrel rate jumped up 3% higher, and his average exit velocity allowed was also 2 miles an hour harder. Still, he was a very, very good pitcher. He dominated with his fastball. He threw it 50% of the time, and despite only sitting around 93, 94 with that pitch, it had a 107 stuff plus grade and was in the 93rd percentile of fastball run value. 4 of his 5 other pitches also had above league average stuff plus grades, and clearly he can locate them with how few walks he allows. His expected batting average allowed last season was just 209, so aside from the occasional barrel, Ryan is just a damn good pitcher. He's probably not going to be a guy that pushes 200 innings. His 171 last season was a career high, and he still made, 30 starts. I think you can expect 170 to 180 innings again, assuming he makes, another 30 to 32 starts, which is a traditional workload over a full season for a starter. I think it's possible that Ryan gets dealt at the deadline if the Twins aren't a good team this year, but as long as he's a Twin, he's going to be our ace this season, and I think you can safely expect very similar production to his 2025 numbers. I'm not saying he'll be a Cy Young candidate, but Joe Ryan is a very, very good pitcher, and he will need to be again if the Twins are going to make a push at winning the AL Central in 2026. But that is going to do it for today's episode. Thank you guys for watching. Please do me a favor and give the video a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe to the channel for daily Twins news and updates. If you have anything Twins related that you want me to talk about in a future episode, let me know down below in the comments. But until next time, I'm Sam Calder, and I'm out. Peace.